Hey, my future maestros, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we are going to work on voicings and inversions, and we're going to apply it to a Bach Prelude, a really famous Bach Prelude. And so you may be familiar with this. And we're going to learn the first few measures, but in our method, we start out with numbers. And the reason we start out with numbers is because once you learn it in one key, you'll be able to apply it to other keys. One more key. And we'll go through the whole prelude and do that. But the goal is that you're not just stuck to a piece of sheet music. Once you learn something, you're able to apply it and eventually have complete musical freedom when you sit down at your instrument. All right, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to work on is inversions. So in our earlier videos, we learned our triads. An inversion is just taking the bottom note of your triad and moving it to the top. So we start here with our triads. We learn them in root position. So if I take this note that's on the bottom and I simply move it to the top, I get this. Same three notes, just my bottom note became my top note. And when your root is on the top, we call that first inversion. Now we can do the same process again. If we take the note that's on the bottom and we move it to the top, we still have our same three notes, but now it looks like that. And we call this second inversion. Now, if I take this note and put it back top, my fifth, I'm back in root position. So for triads, we have three positions. We have root position, we have first inversion, and we have our second inversion. And the reason we need to be really familiar with the notes is so you don't have to think about it. So even if you see the notes in this order, you still know, oh, this is a one chord. This is my one chord because I have 1, 3, 5. They're in a different order, but it's still 1, 3, 5 or 1, 3, 5. All of the notes are still there. The second chord we're going to work on today is our 2 chord, which is our 2, our 4, and our 6. All right, and we follow the same process. If I take my bottom note, move it to the top, I have my first inversion of my 2 chord. Take my note that's on the bottom, put it on top, have my second inversion. And then if I move it up again, I'm back to root position. So I have that. Now it's important again that once you identify it, that you take time and you play it, you memorize it, because the goal isn't just to get it right. The goal is to do it until you can't get it wrong, till it makes sense, and it's almost like hearing your best friend's voice. Okay, so our 1 chord and our 2 chord. Now watch this. I can go back to my 1 chord in first inversion now, and I can go to my 2 chord in first inversion. Listen. That's actually a progression. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now let's go to the second inversion of my 1 chord and the second inversion of my 2 chord. You see what happened? I ended up with this kind of cool progression. Now let's go back to root position of my 1 chord. Now let's play all of those together and see what we get. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. I can come back down. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Now take some time and stop the video if you need to and get that really under your hands and under your fingers so you're really familiar with it. Now let's jump into our Bach Prelude and actually start applying these concepts of voicings and inversions. So when we look at our notation, we have 1, 3, then we have a 5, we have a 1 and a 3. Now, you'll see there's some colors here. And one of the reasons we kind of add colors is because we want to identify the octaves. So you don't have to worry about reading ledger lines and notation yet. You can find 1. We use 1 when it's black, it's in our middle 1. When it's green, it's in this octave. When it's yellow, we're down to this octave. And when it's red, it's up here. And so we're really only covering these 4 sections, these 4 spaces. So when you see those, you're able to see, when you see a red note, you know, oh, it's happening in this octave. So when you see 1 here, it's here. When you see it black, it's here in our middle. Here it's in this octave if it's green, and yellow when it's down there at the bottom. And so that allows you to start accessing really complicated and advanced pieces really early on, because you're able to develop your musical instinct. All right, so now we see 1 here is black and the 3 is black, so that means we're in this middle section. So you have 1, 3. Now we'll put our thumb on 5, we'll put our middle finger on this one, and we'll put our pinky on 3. So if you look at these notes, we actually have our 1 chord, right? It's just stretched out. It's all the notes in our 1 chord. And so that first measure sounds like this. We have what we call an arpeggio. We just break the notes up. Instead of playing them as 1 chord, we're just breaking them up. And it repeats this top line. So that's our 1 chord. Then we go to our 2 chord. So we start on 1, but the chord, you see that? That shape that we just played earlier on, that's your 2 chord, right? But we lead into it with our 1. So we play. So that is really the first 4 measures of that prelude. So take some time and play that. And I would challenge you to experiment with the voicings a little bit. So this is what Bach did. He played them bottom up. Well, what happens if I play top down and I do the same progression? And so this week, take these 2 voicings after you're comfortable and then start mixing up the notes. What if I mix them up this way? So play around with it, see what else you come up with. But the goal is that you're mastering these concepts and you're able to learn the song. But in addition to learning the song, you're also able to apply it to whatever you want to do creatively. Our goal is for you to go from 0 to maestro and have complete musical freedom on your instrument. All right, hope you enjoyed the lesson today. Again, if you haven't liked and subscribed, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with all your friends and family. All right, have an amazing week. See you in the next video.